The Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Planted with Sara Payan podcast. I'm Sara Payan, your host, and today we have a very special guest, Eugenio Garcia, founder and publisher of Cannabis Now. We are in beautiful Barcelona towards the tail end of Cannabis, and of course, we always save the best for last, so welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Gracias. I'm happy to be here in Barcelona. It's amazing. Wow.
Isn't it? I know. I was actually just talking to someone the other day. This is my first time. And I was saying, how is it that I can feel a homecoming in a place that I've never been?
It's the community. It's the people. I was driving here this morning, watching the ocean and reflecting on the last 48 hours. And this is my fourth time here. The first time was not for business, for pleasure on a surf trip back in 2005. And now, so many years later, being here now 3 times for work, I was able to reflect on why do the people that we see here feel so at home? It's because a lot of the community that we've developed in the States is also here.
Yeah.
And it's mixed with the new community of Europeans who sometimes get over to the States, but sometimes don't. And it's this amazing mix of the two communities together. Granted, the U.S. group is a little bit smaller, but we're all part of our own little tribe, which is nice.
Walking around yesterday, it was like catching up with old friends, making new friends. I met a gentleman from Amsterdam, right outside of Amsterdam, just by chance, who's making these tinctures called Druid Drops. And we were having this conversation about his cancer journey and how he got into his work and what he's doing to help people. And it's just such a heartfelt experience. So many people are just here to connect, share their stories, share information, and just see how these connections continue once we leave.
There's very few great gatherings of people that are focused around a plant, which also leads to the focus around community and health and wellness and freedom. You can go to like Oktoberfest or Coachella or whatever concert you want to go to, but that's about music and it's a little bit of a different thing. Here with this community, it's all about this plant, and a lot of it is also about the genetics and the seeds that grow the plant, which is almost singular in the world. I mean, find me one other event where you can go where the vast majority are all hyper-focused on the same thing. And I believe that it's about these genetics and the growing and the cultivation of this crazy, amazing plant. And there's nothing like it in the world right now.
No, there isn't. And in California, I have a lot of conversations with cultivators about how they're sharing genetics and how those genetics are expressing themselves in the different environments. In Mendocino, whether you're, by the ocean, or Humboldt, if you're further inland, how that's affecting it. But when you think about all these countries getting together, people from different countries sharing genetics and seeing how those genetics express themselves in those cultures or in those countries, I'm wondering how often they're able to actually share the outcomes, and with the work that we're doing in media, how that might actually bridge the gap a little bit more as well.
Yeah, one of the first media expressions that I was a part of or intentionalized was in the Emerald Cup in NorCal, which is probably the sister reflection of what's going on here in Cannabis. Up there, the Emerald Triangle, all the breeders came together and harvesters, farmers came together to celebrate the harvest. So very similar, but a little bit different. But here at Cannabis, the growers are intentionally collaborating with each other to share knowledge and genetics and even customers sometimes, which is very rare. And it's very, I was just talking with Sergio from Blimburn Seeds before. And we were reflecting on how this is the last year that Cannabis will be here in this city, and what will happen. Where will the next gathering of people be is a question to be determined right now.
I know. I hope that something happens in Bilbao. maybe selfishly because I want to visit, and I've heard that the food is amazing there.
It is. It is. And San Sebastian is amazing. That's actually where we went when I came here so many years ago with my twin brother, who we were on a mini vacation. I think I was 25 years old. Mm-hmm. We rented a car, threw the surfboards on top, bought some hashish on La Ramblas, and we road tripped up to San Sebastian and spent a week eating tapas and drinking and surfing and enjoying life. And all we had was our little hash from Barcelona, and it was amazing. It's so special that you were able to experience this week before it was no more. What a treat.
I feel so lucky. I know. Well, and for a while there, because there's been so much going on in the spring, I was juggling things around, and I was like, well, maybe we'll have to do it next year. And if there's something about it, there's like, no, you have to be here this year. And then the announcement right before we came out here, I was like, I'm so glad we did it. I'm so glad.
From a person who is in media, but also a skilled journalist, have you been able to get any of the magic and the DNA from some of these thought leaders that are here about the reflections of this event and the culture here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that people have mentioned, especially, who are very much ensconced in business as well, is the fact that with ICBC and Spanibus being the same week, it's really the best of both worlds, because you're getting the business aspect in the beginning and talking about that, but then you're immersing yourself in the culture and the reason that we're actually here. I mean, if it wasn't for the seed producers and the cultivators, where would we be?
Yeah.
Growing your cannabis business is exciting until it's not. Struggling with messy operations, supply chain chaos, or tough decisions? New Holland Group is here to help. They partner with founders and execs to untangle the hard stuff and scale with intention. Thinking about expanding globally? New Holland Group helps you think big while staying grounded in compliance, culture, and safety. Strategic expansion done with purpose, experience, and integrity. Visit new-holland.group to learn more.
Yeah, it's I was having a conversation last night at dinner with a group called Mills Nutrients. Mm-hmm. They're from Amsterdam. They're expanding into the U.S. They are in, I think, 4 continents and however endless amount of countries. And they were discussing how the cannabis product is so much more unique than maybe other medicinal products, where if you take a vitamin C, for example, that vitamin C is synthetically created in a laboratory. It's not like they're shaving off oranges and putting them into pills.
Right.
But with cannabis, the 113 cannabinoids that make up the most complex plant on the planet, maybe, you have to grow it, and you have to pay attention to that growth cycle. It's not just 1 + 1 = here's a pill.
Yes.
It's an artistic expression, and a lot of the people here at Spanibus are only successful if they mix that art with love and passion, and also experience that, like Sergio was describing, you can only get after 20 years of exploration in an environment that is also illegal.
Right.
That you can go to jail for just to learn about the plant. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I did a night of sessions at Choco Lounge just a couple days ago, and there were some gentlemen that were sitting up in the area where I was recording that were from Ireland, and they were growers, and they were talking about just how hard it is there with prohibition. It was joking but yet serious, saying that their policies are basically put together by the Catholic Church. And they were talking about still to this day, and how they thought that even growing outdoors with the environment was incredibly difficult. So Johnny Casale was there, and we introduced him to them, and they had a great conversation. He gave them some great pointers on cultivation and things that they could do to be successful outdoors. Wow. And also because he does come from that time of prohibition, there's definitely this connection, this level of conversation where they related to one another. It was really magical to make those connections and to see them. So what have been some of the highlights of this week for you?
Well, it's interesting because I've watched Spanibus from afar. This is actually my second time actually at Spanibus. So in the 3 times that I've been here to the city, to Barcelona, the first time I came for an international award show, and I filmed a documentary on the social clubs here in the city. And we spent 3 days. The first day was at the award ceremony, and Cannabis Now was receiving an award for... and then we went to HQ, Choco, and Strain Hunters members clubs and talked to the owners and talked to customers and did a whole exploration of that culture. So it was not during Spanibus, but we captured some amazing moments. And I really got to learn about the hospitality and community and consumption part of the culture here. And then the second time I came for Spanibus, and it was really the first time you're just trying to absorb it all. And it was amazing. And now this third time I've come very focused. There are a number of brands and family members that run companies that I have identified to work with. And so I'm very focused on those brands and people. How can we work together? A lot of them are coming to the United States, and they do not understand the business, networking, the culture, the regulations, how to be successful. So what I've been trying to do is to shepherd them to be successful in North America. And in order to do that, I need to see them in their own environment here and understand how they do business on their own turf so that we can be successful in a new environment.
It's such an important conversation to have, because when I look at the people in the cannabis space that are so gifted, they have so much to share. But in many ways, it's like what create the problems that creatives have. You have all this talent, but you're not sure how to properly utilize it to the best benefit of both yourself and the world. And to have you being able to help shepherd that is something that's really crucial.
Question of like my experience. It's a lot about letting the universe bring you what you need, but also helping the universe by specifically deciding how you want to spend your time. There's the clubs, there's restaurants, there's bars, there's Spanibus, there's hundreds of booths. So I think that what I've experienced is a lot of people trying to do networking, and the ones that are succeeding are the ones that are using their relationships to guide them. Not just for someone like me who's trying to bring clients to the US or whatnot, but people who are saying to, oh, this is my buddy, and I'm going to stay with my buddy and walk with them around the show and use those relationships to kind of cut through all the noise. And I find that the people that are most successful are the ones that are really staying with a friend or a colleague and allowing them to guide them around this week and be successful.
Absolutely. I was just having a great conversation with Jamie Pearson, and she was like, at the risk of on, she's like, it's about a vibrational energy and how we connect to one another. And when you're on the same vibration as somebody, you find each other. And it's amazing how many of us have found each other and have been able to connect as friends, do great work together, lift each other up, and finding other people that are, akin to what we're doing, really like have the same heart and soul about the work. And that is so deep and valuable. And it's something that I remember very much during the 215 days. And as we started to evolve in legalization in our country, there was still some of that, but it was changing. And I feel like it's very much more like how it was in the 215 days in California, where there is just this amazing energy, all these genuine connections, and you're running into people from back home that share that feeling as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a really interesting time of a generational transition, right? So there's a lot of there's a lot of families that have created successful businesses here in Europe because families are the only ones that could be trusted in an environment of aggressive, illegal risk. And now those mothers or fathers are older and slowing down and or successful, and they don't want to work 12-hour days anymore. And I've seen multiple, whether it's their son or their daughters or whatever, or family or close friends, there's a changing of the guard that's happening right now. Some of these legacy operators who started in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they're starting to transition with their life and what their priorities are. And the new guard is now coming into the door, and watching that happen in real time has been actually pretty unique.
Yeah, and it excites me to think about the innovation that they're going to bring to the table.
The fresh blood, the fresh energy.
Yeah, that's it. When you look at the European market and media, how does that all tie in together? Because it is, I mean, there is a media presence here in Europe, but it's very nascent still. It's not as established as in the United States.
Well, I think it's not just media for cannabis. It's actually media in general in Europe is completely different than media in the US. I mean, the US culture is very unique where you can travel around the world, and if you listen to music or you watch popular TV shows, the majority of them, not all of them, but at least 70% are in English. And you hear these songs playing in Bangkok and London, and you watch a movie in Amsterdam and it's got subtitles and it's an English blockbuster. So I think that the US is the center of the world for media, and we have a very specific way of doing it, and also a very specific desire from a lot of people to be a part of media, to have the spotlight on them. There are some humble warriors who are behind the shadows, but in Europe, a lot of the majority of them, they don't want media. They don't need the spotlight. They don't want the spotlight, and the spotlight is risky. And even now, right? So in the States, maybe 10 years ago, people would be like, you know what? I don't want you to come film my farm in Humboldt. It's fine. Now everyone is their own little celebrity and their own little brand. Here in Europe, a lot of the operators are very humble, and they're still very happy to be behind the scenes. After this conversation, I'm going to be walking to Spanibus, and we're going to be doing some interviews with some people who started the Spanibus show 20 years ago. And they were very reluctant to even talk on camera, but for the sake of the history of the moment, they are, and maybe it'll be one of the few captures that they've ever done live and, in a time capsule. So I think that one of the challenges with Europe in media is a combination of culture, but also language barrier. English is well spoken in Europe, but if you can't articulate your thoughts clearly, you can become self-conscious about how you talk and less prone to do interviews or to talk on the record. And there is the language barrier is a little bit of a real challenge in doing media from the States to Europe.
Emerald Village, West Hollywood, the heart of cannabis culture in Los Angeles. From the first legalized dispensaries to the nation's first cannabis cafe, WeHo leads the way. Visit legacy spots like AHHS, LAPCG, and MedMen. The fresh vibes at Calma, Urban Leaf, and Green Queen. Chill at lounges like The Artistry, OG Cannabis Cafe, Off the Charts, Pleasure Med, and The Woods. Emerald Village WeHo, the world's 5-star cannabis destination. Your elevated escape awaits.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to do a panel with people in Europe doing consumption lounges, and that was one of the things. Very, very gracious, saying thank you for thinking of me, but I would much rather be behind the scenes at this time. And you can't help but respect that. So my response was, well, I'm just very excited to get to spend some time with you.
Sure.
Because it's, I understand. I mean, you and I both come from a time where, dispensaries, when I first worked in a dispensary, part of the training that I would do for my staff was, if the feds come, this is what we need to do. So,
Stop, drop, and roll.
Kind of, yeah. But, one thing I've never asked you, how did Cannabis Now come to be?
Well, how much time do we have? I was a graduate for political science.
Mm-hmm.
That's the degree that I got in university. And I was born in Los Angeles, but I was raised in Bozeman, actually Paradise Valley, Montana, which is just south of Bozeman, Montana, which is now the focus of the Yellowstone Breakout TV show with Kevin Costner. So now it has a big spotlight on it, Big Sky Country. And I went to university for political science. And what I was really interested in was paradigm shifts. First, it was the organic movement. So I ended up leaving university and moving to Seattle and working for Whole Foods Market, being a part of the organic movement, that the revolution that was happening.
That was a golden time at Whole Foods too.
What's that?
That was a golden time for that company.
It was 2005 to 2010 was about my arc with Whole Foods Market. And while working at Whole Foods, I started to pay attention to other paradigm shifts. And the big one that came out was cannabis. And so I co-founded Cannabis Now while working at Whole Foods Market in actually Berkeley, in Berkeley, California. 2009, the idea was, at the time, my family was cultivating cannabis in Montana. And they wanted me to bring material back to them that was educational from San Francisco, which was kind of the heartbeat of the cannabis movement in America. And I was actually, my wife now and girlfriend at the time lived right across the street from Haight and Ashbury.
Oh, right on.
And so I spent some time in that zone. And one serendipitous day, I found a West Coast Leaf newspaper magazine sitting on the corner, literally on Haight and Ashbury corner. And I grabbed it and I brought it home to my brother-in-law, who was a grower. And we were smoking a joint and reading it. And he said there should be a medical journal for cannabis. And it was like, oh my God, yes. And we couldn't find it. It didn't exist. There was High Times, there was Weed World, there was Treating Yourself magazine. There's maybe 3 or 4 magazines on the shelves at Barnes & Noble, and that was it. And honestly, High Times had taken a decline in their authenticity of the moment, maybe at that time. And there was no voice for the emerging community. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to start a Rocky Mountain Journal focused on medical conversations. And after our second issue, the laws changed in Montana, putting almost every provider out of business. So if you had a business, you could sell cannabis to as many people as you wanted. And then the laws changed after 2 years, allowing only 3 customers per provider. So virtually everyone that went out of business. And instead of also going out of business, because at the time we were more of a regional magazine, and I was living in Berkeley, I said, no, we're not going to go out of business. We're going to go national, and we're going to run it out of Berkeley. And I was lucky enough to team up with Ed Rosenthal and Steve D'Angelo from Harborside, and we created our 3rd magazine, which was our first national title, and we submitted it to Barnes & Noble, and it got accepted, and we had amazing sell-through. And, it's been a 15-year journey since then.
That's awesome. I know the first time that I picked up Cannabis Now, I was just really impressed because a lot of, for all of the heart and the wonderfulness of cannabis media in some ways was really polarizing. It wasn't as friendly to women before. It just seemed like there was a lot of babes and buds.
Yeah.
And, hey, I think that, if a beautiful woman wants to, share her looks with the world, that is fine. There's no shame around that. But everybody needs a lens to be able to relate to. And that's why I think it's so important. We have so many lenses in cannabis through which to see this world. And so Cannabis Now was something that I was really impressed with because it was relatable. There was really good information. The visuals were beautiful. And for a woman in the industry, and I started when, a lot of the ladies behind the bar were encouraged to wear tight shirts and, be real cute. And hey, like I said, if that's what you want to do, more power to you. But for some of us, it's not a comfortable place to be. So I really appreciated just how professional Cannabis Now was. And when I was writing for Cannabis Now, I just enjoyed it so much. It was great, especially, with Ellen as your editor at the time. Just she has such an eye and a gift for curation, and you've continued on that legacy as the years have gone on. What are your plans for Cannabis Now? What do you see in the future?
Blimburn Seeds has been a trusted name in cannabis genetics since 2002. With roots in the US and Europe, they offer premium seeds, clones, THCA flower, pre-rolls, and professional nutrients. Shipped fast, secure, and guaranteed worldwide. Explore over 1,000 strains in curated packs designed to help you grow with confidence and pride. Catch our 3-part series featuring a live interview from Barcelona with founder and CEO Sergio Martinez, only on Planted with Sara Payan.
Well, to speak briefly about the authenticity maybe of the past and our journey, I think for the entirety of our company's life, the majority of the team members have actually been women.
Yeah.
It is a female plant, by the way, that gets us high, or makes us feel good, and gives us medicine. And a few of the women that have been the most critical to the magazine's success have been, my current wife, Anna Pittman, who's now Anna Garcia. She was our first employee, and she started managing our social media and created our first website, and to date is our CTO. And so her energy and skill in guiding the company has been a tremendous North Star.
You can feel it.
Absolutely. And also with our senior content heartbeat over the many years that she was with us, allowed us to develop something that was safe and also a balanced voice in the community, which was really important to me and the people that I worked with. And also, as from a technical point of view, because we were the first magazine to be accepted into the airports with a relationship with Hudson News, which is a big retailer, we had to be family friendly. And so we have very strict guidelines in our advertising and in our editorial around language, about nudity, about aggressive imagery. And it was kind of a function of our team, the environment in order to be in the airports. But it also allowed us to differentiate ourselves from the other companies such as High Times, which were a little bit more liberal and aggressive with their conversation and imagery. So the last 15 years has been a lot of learning as you go, doing the best you can with what you got, and also waiting for the environment to be right. And I do believe that sitting here right now in this moment, it's a tipping point. Going to be a lot easier. But the businesses have developed to a point where they actually have budgets to support media and publication. The laws are starting to change to allow those businesses to develop and raise capital and to grow, which then trickles down. Germany, for example, legalizing is planting a flag as a super country now that the dominoes, I believe, will now fall. So our desire is to keep on telling the stories. I mean, really, it's we want to do business. We want to be successful. But our mission is to capture the moments in history as time goes on, so that people can learn from the past to be successful in the future. And that's really our goal. And our hope is to continue to do that through mediums such as print, but also digital and social, film projects, collaborations. But a little known but real part of the future of Cannabis Now and myself as an organization is we are now starting to intentionally take the relationships that we've had through storytelling, through advertising, and like I said earlier in our conversation, connecting the human beings that are behind that with each other so that they can be successful, which is a fourth dimension, if you will, or 4.20 dimension, to do business, right? So, it's no longer buy an ad in our magazine, put a banner on our website, join our email list. We'll promote you on social media. We'll do a film project with you. Those are great and are needed, or let's do an experiential event together. Now it's, let me actually introduce you to somebody. that can help your business, their business, and we will all be successful together. That is actually now an intentional part of our business, which has been really exciting.
That is exciting. I mean, I'm just so excited to see how the evolution happens. Just seeing the process. I mean, even in the past 10 years, think about where you were 10 years ago compared to now. Like, how much have you learned through all of this?
I've learned a lot. But I've also witnessed almost even more. Just being a witness to the history. I mean, I still am holding magazines in my backpack, and my back hurts a little bit because I'm slugging them around and handing them out. So that has not changed. But witnessing the struggles and successes, hopes and dreams of the other people in this industry, that's the North Star. That's the constant. And it's been an unbelievable ride.
Well, I'm just so excited to keep the conversation going with you. And our conversations create normalization. When we get more out into the world, people get curious. They want to get involved. They learn more about the people. It humanizes everything. And then perhaps in the next few years, actually, I know in the next few years, we'll have even more people engaged in what our community is doing.
Absolutely. I would say as maybe a closing thought is keep doing what you're doing. One of the biggest hurdles and dangers that we still have is a lack of education, especially for two groups: the politicians who are controlling the laws that restrict and or support cannabis, and also the investors who are willing to give their capital to entrepreneurs with visions. Both of those groups desperately need education, because although we are in our own micro bubble, when you go outside of that bubble and you talk to these politicians and or investors or businessmen that are not aware of cannabis, it is still unbelievable how much they do not know about what has been going on for the last 2 decades. And it's really a responsibility for the media to intentionally go to them and say, here, listen to this podcast, read this magazine, watch this film, come to this event, and your mind's going to be exploding with the reality of what is going on today and how you need to support us.
Absolutely. I was talking to Bo Whitney earlier. Amazing man, economist, so much data in that man's brain. And I was asking him, does the data help drive policy? And he said, policy is emotional, Sara. Yeah. And so our work as media is extraordinarily important to help develop emotion around this in a way that is actually creating abundance and sound policy that creates safe access.
Amen.
For people who want to follow you, contact you on social media, how should they do that?
At Cannabis Now. You can find us on all social platforms, cannabisnow.com, or go to your local Barnes & Noble, or give us an email and we'll send one to you.
Awesome. Will you come back and geek out with me another time?
Anytime.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
And everyone, remember, if you like listening, please give us a review, share it with a friend. Let us know what your favorite episodes are. And if you'd like to stay in touch over social media, we are Planted with Sara Pion on Facebook and Planted with Sara on Instagram and Twitter. You can also go to our website, www.plantedwithsara.com, or listen to us on our parent network, Radio Misfits Network, where there are other great podcasts, like one of my favorites, the Winemakers Podcast. So check it out. You can listen to Planted wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, whether that's Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher, tune in. We are there. So join us. And until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, it's a wild world out there. Be good to one another. Until next time, take care.